Hey, everybody, and welcome to this Friday's episode of the Coaches Roundtable. I'm really glad you're joining us today, and we're really excited to be here today. We've been having some great chats in our pre-call, if you will, our green room, I guess we call it. But welcome to the Friday edition of the Coaches Roundtable. We are a group of 5 coaches who have all come together from different walks of life and literally around the world to share our insights with you on a variety of topics. And I'm the lucky winner for today to get to share my insights with you. And just as a reminder, we are live every Friday here at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on LinkedIn, as well as on our YouTube channel. If you're not following us over on YouTube, just go over and search for the Coaches Roundtable, and you can follow us there too. And I want to get started today in our short time together with quick introduction. So Lubna, take it away.
Good day, everyone. My name is Lubna. I'm a mindset and performance coach, and I help you smash limiting beliefs, set and achieve meaningful goals, and soar in your confidence and motivation.
Russell, thank you, Lubna.
Amazing. Hey, Russell Eubanks here. Been in cybersecurity for a long time, and I help cybersecurity leaders get promoted. Back to you, Sid.
And Jonathan, thank you, Russell.
So my name is Jonathan Howard. I'm the owner of Success on Social. I help coaches show up authentically and reach their ideal clients using short form video and live video. So I'll pass it to Camille since she's the last one.
So everybody, my name is Camille Nisich. I am an advisor, investor, and coach, and I help innovators find the hidden cash flow in their business so they can fund their growth.
Oh, I like that. Innovators. I like that term. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sid Meadows, and I'm a business advisor, strategist, and coach. And I help businesses attain the growth that they're looking for so they can continue to move forward. So with that, today, we're actually going to talk about growth and growth ideas for 2023. And I think there's probably one thing we could all agree on, regardless of the type of business you're in, whether you're a coach, an entrepreneur with 2 or 3 people that are working for you, or you're a large business with hundreds of people working for you, that sales and customer acquisition and the strategies around those have changed over the past few years, how we go about doing them and the approaches that we take. And obviously we know that we all need sales to grow our businesses, right? It's a core foundation of business growth is sales and revenue. And I think sometimes this stuff is changing really rapidly and can be hard for us to keep up with. And so I want to start out today before we dive into the tips that I've come up with for ideas for business growth in 2023. I want to ask each of you, what would you say is either the number one or your number one change or challenge that you've noticed over the last year as it relates to sales and customer acquisition?
Gosh,
So play thinking music.
You've got us started on a very profound question.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one of the changes is being very specific about who you help and how you help and what you help with. Because although in the Netherlands alone, I think that there are about 30,000 coaches, and that amount is growing. So calling yourself a coach won't distinguish you from anyone because there are 29,999 others. And being even specific in combination with consistent so that people start to recognize you and start to remember you as the way is something that I have personally experienced as being even more important than it was before. And for me, it definitely started that shift with all of the lockdowns. I mean, everybody went online and was spending a majority of time online and was playing on. So there was even more noise than there usually is. So you had to even be even more be specific and consistent to jump out of all of that noise.
All right. So I'm going to thank you, Lubna, for jumping in with that. And I'm going to just reframe it for a minute. What I heard you say was be as specific as to the what and to the who.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Russell, what about you? What are you seeing as some of the challenges or changes that are happening?
I see I need to go before Lubna because pretty much everything Lubna said. And I got And I think to riff on that, pre-pandemic, I would go to conferences and teach people things, and business would come from that just because, ooh, I like what Russell said all week long, or it might be what they say. But I love to go back to what Luna said, and borrowing from Brene Brown in her book, Dare to Lead, she says, to be clear is to be kind. I think that clarity of, oh, that's what you do, that's what you offer, so that people can not have to memorize things or have a confused look with that. Okay, if I want to get into cyber or get a promotion in cyber, I want to call Russell. And if I don't, cool. Maybe Russell's a nice person and all, but it's not for me. I'm looking for something else, making it easier for them to understand and then opt in where appropriate. And doing so in this environment where instead of in a classroom, it's like looking at a camera instead of like shaking someone's hand in the real world.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Jonathan, what about you?
So I will say one of the biggest things that people have had to learn is how to communicate with the camera, how to actually get themselves to that person, how to make that connection is one of the biggest changes. But also, you have to show up much more consistently now, and you have to differentiate yourself in a bunch of different ways. It's not just I'm a coach who helps these people. What else makes you different? Because there's a lot out there. Just like Lubna said, there's millions of coaches.
Sure.
But what makes you special, like really special? But also you can dance and point and get clients. So that's another fun thing.
Spoken like a true Instagram coach right there. I love it. All right, Camille, what would you add to this?
I think it's been a shift, is something that we talked about in another series. The time to trust, or the time to regain trust, is extended. I mean, yes, we can show up on content, we can show up on camera, we can clearly define, what we do and what transformation we offer. But at some level, the amount of trust that we have to achieve before that sale feels longer because of some of the things that have happened in both the micro and macro environments.
Oh, that's such a really, really good point. And trust is a cornerstone, at least in my opinion, of one of the reasons why people do business, especially with people like us. Right? Coaches, solopreneurs, and even smaller businesses. And I'm sure we all have horror stories of trusting a company, regardless of the size, and that backfiring on us. Right. So I really appreciate trust. But I think what all of you have highlighted is everything around us is changing very rapidly, regardless of the type of business you are. And so I kind of boiled down to 3 things that I think are strategies that you can use that will help you with growth in 2023 and even beyond, right? So the first one, and these may not surprise any of you, but the context around them, I think, could be really a really fun conversation for us. So the first one, strategies that you can use. Right, Camille.
I had it went all the way down, and then it didn't work. It didn't work.
Y'all saw her face, right? Like, oh, yeah, okay.
Well, guys and girls, you can see this is live.
100% unscripted as it happens. You're getting it right. So, all right. So let's look at number 1. Number 1 for me, it comes from a podcast conversation that I had with somebody late last year. And I thought it was really interesting how she was explaining currency and what currency was. So let me give you an example. She talked about currency pre-2020 as being relationships. We built a lot of businesses are built on relationships, and regardless of the size, right? And that prior to 2019 or 2020, relationships was the predominant currency that brought you a lot of business. Okay. And then in 2020 and 2021, what really happened to us is that because of lockdowns and the difficulties of building relationships or maintaining relationships, all of a sudden information became currency. And because people went, where do they go? They went to the interwebs. They're looking for information. They're looking for information, white papers, research, information about your product or your services and data, right? So information became a currency. And now as we're emerging from what happened in the last couple of years, what's really becoming a currency is a combination of relationships, because now we're able to come back to them in places like this and video, but now we're also getting some in-person stuff, and networking events are back, and we're able to go places a lot more freely now without testing and all these, regulations and stuff. So that in-person is coming back, but with relationships, and this is the tip, right, is customer experience. And focusing on the experience that a potential client has with you and your brand. And when we think about customer experience, it's all aspects of it. Where do they first experience your brand? On Instagram or social media, right? Is potentially one thing. Or is it they land on your website, and what's the experience they have on your website with you? What's the experience they have reading a blog? So I think focusing on customer experience is honestly, and removing friction points would be the first tip that I would do about growth. So feedback from any of you or thoughts on it.
I think you're right. Because even if we can be specific on the what and the who and be consistent about that, it's still about how do you make me feel? So it's not even rational or objective, but how do you make me feel? And I believe it was Maya Angelou who said, who ended her quote with, people will always remember how you made them feel. And I think that emotional connection matters a lot. And when we talk about experiences, we're actually talking about emotions and what emotions are we evoking. And we could do a lot by using our online presence, our offline presence, and we can even go into the root of social proof, because I literally had an experience today where I received an email from a manager, and she said, would you be willing to deliver the workshop that you did and at the end of last year, a 3-part series workshop, at our international week that's coming up in 2 weeks? Because I'm hearing a lot of positive stories about it. And a lot. It's literally what she said. I knew already that she had received compliments from one of the young professionals that attended. But since then, she's even heard more. And when I said, yeah, sure, I'm happy to deliver that workshop again. I created it to be able to deliver it as much as possible. She said, I'm so happy that you can, because I think it would be really well. And I'm thinking, that workshop was nothing compared to what I have in my toolbox. But because of the experience and the fact that she heard other people's experience, and it was not one person or two, made her think, okay, I want more of that. And I think that is something very valuable that we can lean into more now, because we can make a combination between offline and online in how we show up. That I think that is really, really true.
Thank you, Lubna, for that. And I want to throw a tactical approach to this for a second. I'm curious if you've been to a website and you're looking for something, right? And you find the perfect website, and you go and you're looking around the website, and you're really interested in this, and you click the contact info. Yeah. What's your first reaction when you see a form, or you see everybody's name up there and you click and there's nothing there?
I do not give a lot of grace about that. Although I had a tangible example of that just this week. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try really hard, because I feel like you should keep that stuff buttoned up. But I don't love the form, because it has this feel of, I will never, ever have another human on the end of this.
Yep. And that's also requiring you to work. They're asking you to work.
Well, now I have to craft my thought, when literally I just wanted to quickly get into a conversation with you, right? And especially when there's that first little drop down, I'm thinking, but my question doesn't fit into these choices. So now I'm annoyed, right? So no, that is not a good customer experience for me at all.
I think that's, for me, one of the prime examples. Go ahead, Russell.
Yeah, I was just thinking, in my mind, I go to the book by Lee Cockrell, Creating Disney Magic, former executive at Disney. And in his book, the very end, he has his cell phone number. And on one hand, it's like, well, man, I don't want somebody to call me. But then he's like, well, wait a minute. I need customers. I need people to call me. And he talks about over and over and over again about how surprised people are when they dial it and says, oh, I just want to see if you'd answer. And he did answer. And sometimes it's led to business. But I think when you think in terms like that, what would it look like to remove barriers? What if someone wanted to reach out and you want to make it easy for them to connect, easy for them to do business with you? Why not do something like that? Make it easy.
So, Jonathan, yeah, go ahead. I see you're ready to say something.
Yeah, well, 18 years with Barnes & Noble. Customer service was what we did, and we did it well. We were one of the top. So one of the things that I always focused on was, what is in the way of the customer being happy? And sometimes it's just the customer's cranky that day, but you can still make them happy. So just getting rid of anything that's in the way. I would accept returns on everything. And you know what? it made us more money. A lot of times people are like, you accept and I was doing textbooks, so $400 books.
Ooh.
We'd accept the return on everything. Even if it was a day late, a week late, they'd used it, we'd accept the return, because then they'd come back and buy 5 more $400 books.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the difference. That's a huge, huge win when you make somebody happy, even if they're just having a bad day.
Mm-hmm. Just because they're having a bad day doesn't mean you have to have one too, right?
Right.
Right. So making sure that we're focused on our prospective customers, clients, having an amazing experience with their brand, or with our brand, excuse me, wherever they meet us. That could be the internet, that could be in person, that could be on social media. So wherever they meet us, we need to evaluate how they're experiencing our brand, and is it the way that creates a dynamic, rememberable experience. And so I'm going to leave a tip and then we'll move on to the next one. My tip for you is, if you're listening to this, just start by going and experiencing your website as a customer. Go onto your website as a customer, look around, try to get out, try to find information, try to contact somebody and see how it makes you feel. And imagine, as you knowledgeable of your business, imagine how it would make someone feel that does not have knowledge of your business or your company. So that's my tip, is go do your own self-evaluation of your website and see if you're creating a great experience. Anything to add to that, guys, before we move to the second one?
No.
All right. So tip number 2 is, and I think all of you will understand what I mean by this, is to sell your product or service without selling your product or service. So Russell, I see your thoughts like going off. What do you think I mean by sell your product and service without selling your product or service?
Yeah, I was trying to think, where's Sid taking me on this question? And so here we are on this question. And so I think this idea of this aspirational identity, Donald Miller talks about this in his writings and such. He talks about, what would it look like to be that? And I think this idea to sell, in my case, getting people promoted into executive leadership in cybersecurity, what would it look like? What would your impact and influence be like when that happens? Lots of ways you can think about that. But this idea says, let me imagine. Let me take someone on a journey to imagine what that would look like to, say, be in front of a board of directors and talk about cybersecurity and the risks that it, or the rewards that it brings to the organization, versus just saying, well, why won't somebody listen to me? Why won't anyone pay attention to me? And so talking about what the future is like and allowing the individual to kind of put themselves in that position, say, yeah, I want to do that. Or maybe they say, I don't want to do that. This idea of how to talk about what's possible has been very effective for me.
Lubna?
Yeah, no, I had a thought that you were going into that. Are you going to talk about the features of your product or service, or about the benefits of your product and service? And I think as much as we would love to share about the features, because that's what we're proud of, that's what we've created, that's what we want to sell about. But for someone on the other end, it's way more getting them to start seeing the new them, starting to see the new version of themselves in the future, and the benefit of what you are offering to help them get there. I think that's one, more motivational. Second, it will help them to get that clarity that they need, because most prospects will come to you because there's something that they want, not necessarily what they actually need. I mean, I think I've got one or two clients in the now more than 10 years that I've been an entrepreneur who actually ask me what they need. Most of them ask me for something, and as soon as I walk around in their organization or have a conversation or two, it's like, but this is so not what you should be focusing on. And I think that that's important, because people don't know what they don't know, but they know that they want something different. But what that something different is, they have actually no clue what that looks like. And I think as service providers, or even if you're selling a product, it's our responsibility to help them get some clarity around that, because it will help the relationship between you and the client.
Yeah, really good for both of you. I'm going to have a follow-up, Jonathan. I'm coming to, I see you ready. So, but when I think about this, we've all gone on to social platforms or have received emails, whether on LinkedIn or in your inbox, that just go on and on about the features and the benefit of this product. And I see Camille rolling her eyes. I mean, I just like delete, scroll past, because that's not what I want, right? What I want is when I go looking, right, what I am looking for is a solution to my problem. I am not looking for the feature or the benefit of your product. So, and when I think about this and not selling your product, what I'm thinking about is selling the value, selling the outcome, selling the deliverable. Sell me on how you solve my problem, right? And let me see my problem being solved without you telling me all about your product. So go ahead, Jonathan.
Well, and not even that. Show them what it will feel like to have that solution.
Yep.
Show them what it'll feel like to have that solution, because then, and I always say it's really simple. You're selling happy because they're not happy yet. You're selling happy. Figure out a way to sell happy and you're going to win.
That's great. Well, you bring up something, and we're going to go to Camille. And Lubna, correct me if I'm wrong here. It is the right brain that controls emotion, or the left brain?
It is actually a load of BS.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Well, okay. Anyways, without saying that, but people make buying decisions based on emotion, and they back it up with logic. Yeah. And Jonathan, what you're talking about is leaning into that emotion, of that feeling of how they're going to feel when they get promoted to a chief information security officer that Russell is helping them with, or how they're going to feel when they break through the barriers of mindset that Lubna is helping them with, and tapping into that emotion, because that's how people buy, is emotion. Camille.
Yeah, so many things to unpack there. I'd love to talk about the emotion thing, but I'll take it one direction instead of where I was going to go, which is when we're thinking about this idea of selling the benefit of the benefit or selling happy, that Jonathan nailed it. You're selling the emotion of the benefit, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the benefit of the benefit. And that part is so key, because when we all get those fire hose sales pitches, there's no benefit. It's all feature, and you do not know what emotion I want. Therefore, you cannot pretend to know what product is going to meet that emotional need, right? So it's very frustrating, but I agree. We're definitely selling the benefit of the benefit. And as I was telling you all in the green room, I have been writing copy this week, and I kept asking myself, am I talking about the benefit of the benefit anywhere here? Because in some ways I have to describe, but I also have to get to the heart of the emotions that are coming. Yeah.
So good. Focus on the problem you solve, tap into the emotions, and don't sell your product. I love it, love it, love it. So we've only got a few minutes left, and I literally have 3 or 4 more of these. And so I'm going to pick one, and then I'm going to do a bonus one, okay? And I'm going to intentionally probably tease with the bonus one just a little bit. But my next tip for business growth for 2023 is exactly what we're doing here, which is collaboration. And collaborate with each other, right? Collaborate. And what I mean by this is not just like what we're doing, but collaborate with your competitors. I refer to that as co-opetition. Like, find ways to collaborate that will not only help your business grow, but help their business grow. And I think there's such power in collaboration. So I'll open it up for you guys to give your thoughts about strategy for growth is collaboration.
I'll jump in.
Oh, I'm like waiting.
I'm in the middle of evaluating a new service provider for my own business. And I thought one of the criteria is going to be, could I see myself collaborating and or referring to this person? Mm-hmm. If not, then I don't think they're going to pass the test, right? I just, it would not surprise any of you here that I have a spreadsheet with some criteria.
Gosh, Camille, a spreadsheet? Really? That's the last thing I would connect to you.
Yeah, I know, right? And that is one of the criteria, because I just feel like if I wouldn't be willing to do that, then I'm not certain this relationship's going to work. So I'll leave it at that.
I absolutely love it.
And for me, I love collaboration. I love collaborating with people. And I think that when you are working in the field of change and transformation, which all of us in some way, shape, or form are, then you cannot help one individual or one organization or one team as one person. there are always things that are happening or needed where you need a diversity of talent, strengths, expertise. And I believe that right now and into the future, that when you can offer that to people, individuals, teams, groups, larger organizations, that you can say, you know what, we're going to work on different perspectives because we know that there are different people and that different people need different things, instead of saying, okay, I'm a one-trick pony, and this is what you get for me. But then when you're done, you actually need someone else to keep going. And I think that there are just, especially large organizations, has been my experience, they just want to buy it from one channel, to use that word, and be able to say, okay, I've got it in one go. I'd rather pay more now and get serviced in different ways and actually solve the problem than solve part of it and then have to find someone else to help me with the second part. It's just too long of a runway until you get to that point of, okay, I've actually solved the whole problem right now, which in my experience actually never happens.
And I think one amazing thing about collaboration is you can actually solve the problem without creating a new one. Because many times coaches working on their own solve a problem without understanding what new problem that's going to cause, which leads the client to have to get another coach to solve that problem and another person to solve that problem. When you're collaborating, it actually allows for a lot better results for your clients.
Great. Russell, anything you'd like to add?
I think the word diversity, it's perfect there. Diverse experiences, education, geography, expertise, experiences, industries, so many places where you would be, as a coach, robbing the person you're working with without being able to pull in and collaborate and get that diverse view, diverse experience to give them what they're looking for. So I love the word, and I think in this place, it's just the perfect word.
So I'm going to add to your diversification for just a minute, Russell. And I challenge any business owner with employees to think about collaboration from an internal perspective and look at how having different departments or different people from different departments come in and collaborate on a problem that you have in your business, or collaborate on ideas for growth. Because when you bring people together from manufacturing, from sales, from accounting, from the truck driver, right? They all see the business differently. And they all see the experience that you create with your customers differently. And so when you're trying to figure out growth strategies, bring the people in around that are closest to the customer, that have diverse jobs and diverse backgrounds. Put the challenge on the table in front of them and see what kind of ideas they can collaborate with and how they can come up with solutions that are going to propel your business forward.
You remind me of the blind man and elephant.
Not a story I've heard.
Uh-huh.
Not a story I've heard.
I think it's a poem, actually.
Oh.
And there's an image circulating the internet. And the image is, there's an elephant and there are 6 blind men. And each man is standing at a specific side of the elephant.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of them is feeling, they can't see that it's an elephant, so they're feeling into it. And one says, I have a stick. The other one says, I have a pole. The other one says something completely different. But until they talk together, they will never discover that it's actually an elephant, because they only can experience that part.
Mm-hmm.
I used it as a foundation for a Twitter thread to share. Everyone has a different perspective and it's valuable, but we're only going to see that value when we start talking with each other from the different perspective.
I absolutely love that. Love that. All right. So we're almost out of time and I'm going to tease us with the last tip. Okay. And then we'll wrap up. So my 4th tip, thank you all for commenting on all of them so far. Right. And this would take us down a rabbit hole that I think would be too far. And so here's what I'm going to say is I truly believe that having a digital marketing strategy is really important for your business. When you think about digital marketing, you're thinking about specifically about online marketing, promotions, email campaigns, ads that you're running. And I think it's important to have a digital marketing, but more so important than that is I truly believe you actually need a digital sales strategy. When we think about this, is how are you leveraging digital platforms? Notice I didn't say social platforms. I said digital platforms that basically lead to lead generation for your business, right? So digital marketing, absolutely important, but I think you need a digital sales strategy in 2023 more than ever before. Any final comments before we wrap up?
I'll
It's
just
gone a rabbit hole.
That's what I said. It was a rabbit hole, right? I did. I was out loud.
But I want to say something really quickly, which is I think so many businesses in the past have fallen prey to that. It's like, no, but I stood up my website. I'm thinking, but are you converting? Is there a conversion pathway at all?
Yeah.
Because if you just stood it up and there's no conversion pathway, then maybe you're wasting money. And I'm very sensitive to that. So
Stalker.
I'm on social media.
Oh,
Okay, that's good.
that's perfect, Jonathan.
No, but I would say, considering we talked about the power of the combination between relationship and experience, and that is important, that means that also your digital platforms come into play, because that experience for a prospect starts really early, and it's going to start most of the time by someone Googling and ending up on your online presence, whatever that may be. It could be your website, it could be your social media platform, however you can be found online. And starting to think about, if someone ends up on that place, does that start to create that experience so that they want more and appeals to the positive emotions, that they're going to reach out? Or they're going to search for the website, or they're going to end up at that contact form to even remotely find out. So I think it's important to start thinking there, because one of my clients right now is a small business that wants to grow, but their online presence, they do have a website, but it hasn't been touched in many years. And I found a profile on a social media platform. I heard in conversations that there are profiles on other platforms. I said, when I Googled your business, they didn't come up. So you could tell me you've got a profile, but it did not come up.
Combination of digital marketing challenges and digital sales challenges. Russell, any last words from you, friend?
I was enjoying watching the cringe on Jonathan's face more than anything else.
Well, I just want to take a minute and say thank you to Lubna, Russell, Jonathan, and Camille for joining in today. And thank all of you for listening and participating. You got any questions for us? Feel free to leave us a comment in the chat. We'd welcome you to, again, follow us on our YouTube channel as well as here on LinkedIn. Thanks for being here with us today. We hope you found this conversation beneficial to you, and maybe we spawned some ideas that are going to help you grow in 2023. And we will be back next week on Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, when Russell will be leading the charge for that day. So we'll see you guys all next Friday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.